for a truly marvelous mealtime experience. Fancy Feast Gems. Love is in the details.
I pull up, pick up that baby, and burn rubber. I got a sweet tooth, but I stay away from circles. I pull up, pick up that baby, and burn rubber. Hey, man, what it do, YouTube? It's your boy Smooth, the smoothest dude on YouTube, and I'm back with another video. You feel me? It's Friday, Freaky Friday. I hope somebody out there getting freaky tonight. Not me though, feel me? Sadly, not me, bro. But all praise to the Most High. Another day to continue to grind, another day to keep going. Make sure you're getting that water in you. And we're gonna be looking at the SF90XX, whatever that means. I've never heard of the XX. Ferrari SF90. Cars and bids. I mean, bro got an SF90 on the channel, so I guess we can subscribe to Broski. There's a lot going on right there. But yeah, man, hope y'all having a good Friday, man. We're gonna keep grinding, keep pumping it out, keep going, keep having faith, and keep believing in ourselves. We just hit 2K, okay, and now we on to 3. Let's get into the video. I appreciate y'all for watching the videos too. Let's keep going.
2025 Ferrari SF90XX, and it's insane. The starting price is $900,000.
Just look at that right there, bro. Just look. Beautiful.
It has over 1,000 horsepower and production is incredibly limited. This is one of the ultimate modern Ferrari models, and it's designed for the racetrack. And today I'm going to review the SF90XX and show you all of its quirks and features.
All of its quirks and features, my boy.
I've been using Delete Me for years now, and let me tell you, I'm still just as grateful for it today as I was the day I signed up. The first time I saw my personal
others. So let's talk SF90XX. The regular SF90, they call it the SF90 Stradale. That's sort of a recent Ferrari supercar that fits into the lineup kind of above the more pedestrian supercars, the 296 and the F8, but below the iconic historic supercars like the F50, the Enzo, and the upcoming F80. Then
we will be reacting to some of the older Ferraris too. That's the only way. I might do that today actually. Might just be a Ferrari day. Ferrari Friday. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? The smoothest dude on YouTube. You feel me? It's just like that.
The SF90 fits right in between, and the regular SF90 is fine, impressive car in its own right, but this is very special. The SF90XX continues a tradition of other XX track-focused Ferraris, starting with the FXX, which was a...
So this is, oh yeah, the FXX and the FXXK, all those cars, crazy, bro. Insane, like jets. It's a video on this car too that I'm gonna react to. We're gonna probably just do that today. This is gonna be Ferrari Friday for sure.
A racing version of the Enzo. Then there was the 599XX, and then the FXXK, which was a racing version of La Ferrari. The big difference here is those were all track cars, not street legal. This is track focused. It's a racing version, but it is street legal. You can drive it on the road, and that makes it extra cool. So, what makes this car so special? Well, we begin with the powertrain. This is a plug-in hybrid. It has a twin-turbo V8 mated to an electric system for a hybrid powertrain, and the result is more than 1,000 horsepower, which is obviously pretty insane. It's up around 30 horsepower over the standard SF90, which also has the same plug-in hybrid V8. This has more power, and the result is 0 to 60 in around 2 seconds. Which is obviously an incredible performance measure. Another impressive thing about this car is the rarity GT. While the regular SF90 was not a limited production car, they just made a bunch of them, the SF90XX is. Ferrari says only about 800 coupe models and about 600 units of the convertible Spider, like this one. Very limited production. But beyond all that, the design of the SF90XX is more special than the standard SF90 basically everywhere you look.
I'm not gonna lie, this is a beautiful car, bro. I don't know if this is purple right here. If that's purple, imagine this whole car. I'm not gonna lie, my favorite color is purple. If you didn't know, microphone's purple. You feel me? This whole car in purple, I know it was smack, bro. Like, and then I feel like a few of these things on here need to be carbon fiber. They're probably like send that joint to RDB, get that joint carbon fibered out. But yeah, definitely this is a very good looking car.
In order to maximize downforce, aerodynamics, and therefore racetrack lap times. And so we begin up front, where you can see the front splitter kind of juts out more than what you would get in the standard SF90, obviously for improved aerodynamic performance. You also have kind of a redesign of this panel under the headlights, gives it more of a vertical look as opposed to horizontal on the regular car. I'm not sure there's a performance benefit there, but it just looks cool. And there's more up front. Another noticeable change is on the wheel arch over the front wheels, you have these 3 vents, also to help maximize aerodynamics. We've seen similar things on the 911 GT3 RS and the new Ford Mustang GTD, both track-focused cars themselves, and so no surprise you see it here. However, probably the most pronounced change to the SF90XX up front is the front nostril situation. You can see these 2 big openings in the front compartment here, again intended to maximize aero, and I'll get a little bit more into that later when I show you what's inside the front trunk.
Step into Wix Studio and turn your blank canvas into a creative playground. Pre-designed assets and templates.
He's just playing this wheel.
For now, we move further down the car where there are more changes. On the side, you can see the rocker panels, here finished in carbon fiber and flared out far more than you'd get on the standard SF90 for a more aggressive appearance. Probably generates a little extra downforce too. And then we move on to the back where there's a lot more to cover. Just like up front on the wheel arches, in back, rear wheel arches also have 3 distinctive vents which improve aero and help give this car a more distinctive, more aggressive look compared to the standard SF90. The main items you'll notice in back though are really obvious. Number 1, the massive rear diffuser and rear grille situation. Absolutely huge, aggressive, muscular, really give this car a crazy look.
This is where the flames come out. Even has backup camera right there.
Carbon especially fiber. Compared to the standard SF90. You still have a central exit exhaust just like in the regular car, but here it is surrounded by this mesh grille kind of the whole way around, allowing heat to come off the powertrain. The regular car has this panel painted. It's a lot more classy. This is a lot.
Not gonna lie, this kind of type look a little bit better though. I kind of like this better. Yeah, I think this kind of harder. This, if they could figure out a way to make it like this, but with the wing spoiler that they have on this, perfecto.
More racetrack aggressive. But probably the most noticeable thing back here is the rear wing, which is absolutely massive. Obviously, they install it in this car to generate more downforce, better aerodynamics. That's the purpose of a rear wing. But the interesting thing is to see one on a Ferrari. Ferrari doesn't do rear wings. In fact, this is the very first Ferrari road car to have a rear wing since the F50, which was 30 plus years ago. They finally brought back a rear wing in this car. That's how serious they are about aerodynamics and downforce. In fact, Ferrari is so serious about aero for this car, they say that the SF90XX would be considerably lighter than the standard SF90, saving weight for racetrack performance, but all of the added aero components actually increase the weight back up, so this car is only around 20 pounds lighter compared to a standard SF90. You took all that stuff off, you'd lose more weight, but you'd also lose all the downforce generated by these aero improvements, which help the track times. Now, back here, it's also worth pointing out, of course, you have the engine, mid-engine car. Huge props here to Ferrari for both allowing the engine to still be seen behind the glass panel when it's closed and allowing access to the engine, which so many car companies are now kind of removing from customer hands. Obviously, you don't really want to go messing around in there, but it's cool to be able to see it, to touch it. That's kind of the whole thing about these cars. And of course, the engine makes some nice sounds. Take a listen to an exhaust rev or two from the SF90XX.
Hopping on a jet to a check.
And next we move inside the SF90XX. Getting in is kind of interesting. First off, this cool key. You have this rectangular key with the Ferrari famous prancing horse logo on one side. The other side, just sort of a simple lock-unlock situation and a little emblem.
I ain't gonna lie, that's fire right there. It almost even like it could be a lighter. That's fire.
Reading SF90XX Spider, not just regular, denoting how special this car is. I also think it's pretty cool how Ferrari now manages to hide its door handles. You look at this car from the dead-on side, you do not see a door handle. That's because it's integrated into this kind of fold, this line on the upper part of the door where you don't necessarily see it until you get close to the car, which is a pretty good job of hiding that piece. But open the door, and the first thing you notice in here is how unbelievably, well, not luxurious this interior is. The standard SF90 is full of leather and stitching. It's a high-quality luxury experience in addition to a performance car. This isn't. All that stuff is gone in favor of...
This doesn't look fast, bro. Like, it just look fast. Like, this almost looked like something that you would think would be in like a airplane. Carbon fiber, like silver, steel, metal type. Very simple. Yeah, this just looks fast, bro. No question. If you were to think about how the inside of a fast car would look, this is definitely it.
Kind of a stripped out, focused interior like you would expect from a track car. And that means carbon fiber, Alcantara everywhere, and not a lot of like soft, plush surfaces.
Oh, the steering wheel, bro. If you don't know about these steering wheels, bro, with the light up joint at the top, bro, it's better than a 10 out of 10 baddie, bro. I'm telling you. Like, I was telling somebody one time, I was like, hey man, you get your heart broke, but you come out to this, you might not be so broken. You might not be so broken anymore. Just one ride, fix you.
Nowhere is that more clear than the seats, which are these rather thin carbon fiber bucket seats, as you can see.
I like this little line too. This, I'm not gonna lie, this is like tough interior right here. This looks soft. Got carbon fiber. It's black. This line, everything looks super quality. Yeah.
Trimmed in Alcantara and designed to keep you in place as you fly around the racetrack, keep you from sliding outside your seat, which is pretty cool. But the racing focus certainly doesn't stop there. Probably where it's most clear is the floor area, where you can see no leather trim floor mat or carpeting. Instead, it's all metal down here, and there's various exposed pieces like welds. It is certainly not intended to be beautiful. That's not the goal of this car. They take out the stuff that's unnecessary for maximum track performance. And that's also true on the inside of the door, where you can see you have this carbon fiber piece that includes these 3 open panels. I think that's pretty cool. I assume that is a nod to the 3 vents on the outside of the car on the wheel arches. Sort of brings that design element inside. It looks pretty cool. But the other thing worth noting about the door panel, again, no leather, no stitching, no armrest. You just have carbon fiber and kind of the basics in here, which is pretty neat. But let's move on to the other cool quirks and features inside the SF90XX, starting with the convertible. This is an SF90XX Spider. Might as well show the top. So the button for the top, the switch, you can see right here in the center.
It's a convertible? What?
this image of kind of a generic car with a convertible top going down. But you press that and then the top goes down, as you can see. Obviously fully power, this retractable hardtop goes down and creates a convertible experience in your track car, which is kind of a cool thing to be able to do. And of course, if you want to raise the top, the switch goes the other way, and again, it comes right back up. Again, fairly quick, full power, retractable. You don't do anything, no latching, nothing like that. The car does it all for you, and it's pretty neat. And one rather cool detail of this car, directly next to the switch for the power top, there's a button for a power window. You're thinking that's not that rare, except the window is the one in back. Behind the seats, you can roll down this window. So if you don't have the roof down, but you want to get some like airflow in the cabin, you can drop your rear window like in a Toyota 4Runner. It's a pretty cool idea. And of course, directly in front of those switches, you have your regular power windows, so you can drop your side windows and your back window and get some air through, even if you don't want to open the roof. Now, directly next to your window and top switches, you can see a few other switches here arranged in a curious pattern. The look of this is intended to be a throwback to the old school gated manual transmission Ferraris from back in the day, and basically all of these switches control transmission operation. The one on the left, you push it, it'll put the car in reverse. The ones in the middle are auto, A at the top, and manual, M at the bottom for auto, shifting, or manual. And then the upper right is PS for power start, which is essentially Ferrari's launch control. I think it's cool how when you switch into any of these things, there's like this little light pipe that kind of shoots toward what you've done to confirm your choice. And I also think it's cool that Ferrari has a heritage play to their gated manual, even though this is obviously a modern automatic. Now, beyond that, in this center console, you can see, well, a cup holder up here, surrounded by carbon fiber in your track car. You might not expect to see a cup holder, but you do have one. And there's some storage in here, which is nice because this car does not include a glove box.
And he got some room right there too, look. He pretty big, tall dude.
Or a trunk. More on that in a second. You have a couple of storage compartments at the very front of this center console, smaller ones, I guess, for electronics. In the back, you have a larger compartment. You can see it here with USB and a power outlet. In the center, you have this rather small velvet compartment. That is for the key. So you climb inside. You don't have a place for the key because it doesn't have a hole to put it on a key ring. Well, now you do have a place for it. You can set it here and just look at it while you drive your Ferrari horse and your key. Also worth pointing out, one more storage compartment here between the seats. Again, not huge, but it's there, a little bit of extra storage in this car. And directly above that storage compartment, you can see the plaque reading limited edition 1 of 599, which is Ferrari's claimed production number for the SF90XX Spider. Speaking of plaques and emblems, you have another cool one on the dashboard itself. You can see it says SF90XX Spider. Not just regular, but Spider.
Hey bro, imagine dropping like a IG story pic, or like just this right here. You know what I'm saying? That's a little slight flex on him, you feel me?
Just so people who have the coupe, they know that you're more special when they climb into your car to ride passenger. Now, also in this center area in the dashboard, some rather unusual items. For one, the climate controls, which are mounted on this little screen panel in the middle. Not that many climate controls. It's faced towards the driver, but the passenger does have access. But it's kind of interesting to see how simple and basic the climate controls are in this car. And honestly, it works really well. And as for the climate vents, they're very strange. Adjusting the vents is done kind of by hand. You move the vent around and it looks like it's floating in space, but you can move it up, down, side to side, depending on where you want it to go. A rather unusual climate vent, but it seems cool and futuristic, much like the car itself. Also interesting in this center area is the rear view mirror, which is a camera, actually. You can make it a mirror like it is now, but the rear window is small, you can't see much. Flip this switch and it becomes a camera that projects from here. You can see the camera is is mounted here on the deck lid, and that's showing what's behind you. Obviously, when you have the camera setting turned on, you get a much better view of what's behind you than the actual mirror itself, which contributes to this car's safety and obviously makes it easier to maneuver around and especially back up. Now, your last interesting item in this center control stack area is this screen here, which is intended, I guess, for passenger use, to be able to, I guess, adjust the radio or various vehicle settings, that kind of thing, but it's so laughably small, you can't really do much with it. I mean, look at the navigation map in this screen. It's incredibly tiny. In fact, I think that this passenger infotainment screen is actually smaller than the rear view mirror in this car, which is unusually large. The passenger screen is just really not that big. Now, this is especially a surprise because the center stack is usually where you find a large infotainment display, but in this car, that display is primarily confined to the gauge cluster for the driver to use, because this is a driver-oriented car, and so it's all about the driver. You can see this big gauge cluster screen has a lot of information on it. You have your radio displays where your Bluetooth phone information would be displayed. You have your tachometer here. You have your navigation map, vehicle information. It is all displayed here. Even the climate control temperature is displayed on the driver information gauge cluster screen, which you don't often see, but again, everything in this car is all about driver focused. And honestly, this screen is pretty cool. In its current kind of home setting, you have all this access to all this information, but you can maximize the view to just see the giant navigation map if that's what you want to see, which is pretty cool. And I think that would also be cool on a racetrack because you can kind of look at upcoming corners if you want to take your eyes down for just a second. That's a neat idea. And this screen is configurable beyond just that. You can use the right half of the screen to show a wide range of information, including all sorts of car stuff and other settings, configurability. It's a really impressive screen setup. Although it's intended almost entirely for the driver, the passenger kind of misses out. Now, the screens I have already showed you are all pretty cool, functional, kind of interesting and neat, but one complaint about this car, and it's pretty clear, is that it's gone maybe a little bit too screeny. As an example, to the left of the steering wheel, you have your controls for the power mirrors, the headlights, a couple other things, and it's all mounted on a screen. It's like this button screen. Instead of physical switches, it'd be a lot easier. You're kind of tapping this button screen, which it works, but it's maybe a little much. And then you get onto the steering wheel where the engine start-stop button is not a button at all, but rather it's a screen button. You press it to turn on the car. It just doesn't feel aggressive enough, powerful enough for a big powertrain car like this, but that's the situation. Now, also in this button screen panel on the steering wheel, you can see a dial. This is used to adjust the suspension setting. You can change it from sort of a comfort mode to a wet mode to like a race mode. You can do that all with this dial. And you also have a button screen control for the drive mode here, and there are several options. Your kind of default is H, which stands for hybrid. That's sort of the normal driving experience of the car. If you press on the checkered flag, you go into a performance drive mode, sort of a sport mode, and there's one above that. If you press on this little clock, you go into the qualifying drive mode, which obviously is intended for racetrack use. And when you're in the qualifying drive mode, the SF90XX has a special new feature called Extra Boost Mode, which is activated when the driver floors the accelerator, and it's intended to give you like an extra burst of power and speed coming out of a corner, which is pretty cool. Now, your last drive mode down here you can see is labeled as ED, which stands for electric drive. Obviously full electric. Ferrari says this car can go around 10 miles on full electric power alone. Not something you would do frequently, but it's a possibility if you want to do something quietly or if you need it. Now, also worth pointing out, another set of button screen controls mounted on the steering wheel. Over on the left side, you have controls for various items like your Bluetooth, your cell phone connection. And over on the right, this kind of up-down pad and associated items that can...
I just got the idea of like pranking somebody, so you go pick them up in ED mode, in the electric mode, have them thinking like, yeah, the car real, it's like an electric car, quiet, and then out of nowhere you just switch it on to that track mode. I feel like that'd be a good prank, good video idea right there.
Controls what you see on the driver gauge cluster screen. So a lot of button screen controls in here, although you also have some nice physical buttons on the steering wheel that are pretty cool. One, your turn signals, which are mounted with these thumb buttons on the left and right side, obviously corresponding to left and right turn signal, which you can press from the front or the back to activate. That's pretty cool. You also have physical buttons on the steering wheel for the headlights. You can see over on the left side, auto headlights, you can flash your high beams, and over on the right you have controls for your windshield wipers. You can do the windshield washer, turn on your regular wipers, and then this dial allows you to configure the frequency of the intermittent wipers. All of that is integrated onto the steering wheel along with these giant shift paddles up on the right, down on the left, because again, this car is all about driver focus, so everything is within easy reach of the driver rather than stalks and buttons in the center control stack. You have it all right on the steering wheel. Now, beyond that stuff, a few other interesting quirks in this interior. For one, the interior lights are very tiny. You turn them on in this little pad up on the ceiling that also includes your door locks, but you tap on the light and it turns on, very tiny but very directed, so it gives you good in-cabin lighting, which can be practical to have. Also, another interesting quirk of this car, getting out. There was no door pull that you pull to open the door. Instead, you press a button which electronically pops the door open, and then you climb out. However, in case the battery dies, so you don't get stuck in your car, or if the electronic popper fails, there is a mechanical door handle backup, and it's hidden down here inside this little mesh storage compartment on the door panel. You can pull on this and open up the door manually with an old school mechanical release if your door button situation has failed. And finally, we move up to the front compartment in the SF90XX. I mentioned I'd come back to this, and now I am. You pop it open, and you discover it doesn't have hydraulics to keep it in place. It's a carbon fiber panel. The hydraulics would add weight, so instead you keep it up using a traditional old school prop. You stick it in, you prop it up, and then you can access the front compartment. Not that you will need or want to very often, because there's no storage here. There's no front trunk in this car. Instead, it's all mechanical components up front. Now, this portion in the rear gives you a little window into some of the electric wiring for the electric battery in this car. You have like a little look in, sort of like the window and back onto the engine. Well, here you can see some of the electric stuff, which I guess is kind of cool. Now, directly below that, you can see it says RAC-E. This apparently is an acronym for Rotation Access Control with Electric, and it's supposed to be touting like kind of a front torque vectoring system to improve handling. All of this stuff is included in the regular SF90, the RAC-E, the window into the electrics. It's not special to the XX. What is special to the XX is in the middle of this whole front trunk situation. The standard SF90 has a compartment here, a luggage compartment, and it comes optionally with fitted luggage that perfectly snugly fits into the compartment. Obviously, all of that stuff is gone for this, the track version. Instead, you have stuff here. Specifically, this is where the air comes through that goes out those front nostrils in the front trunk that I showed you before, the ones that are exclusive to the SF90XX. Apparently, this is exhaust air. It comes in, it meets the radiators, and then it comes out, the exhaust, through the nostrils in order to improve cooling for this car, and that's why they've done this, and that's why they've stolen the trunk space. Another difference between the XX and the normal everyday Stradale. And one other cool thing you'll notice in this front trunk compartment situation, on the inside of the trunk lid, there's a plaque, and this plaque details all of the options equipped to this car. It goes through like the whole thing. So in case the owner loses the window sticker, you still have a record of exactly all the crazy features this car has, which is pretty cool. I am very excited to get this car out and find out how it drives, so let's get behind the wheel of the SF90XX.
It bothered us too that your employees weren't taking full advantage of their retirement plans, so Vanguard created some.
All right, driving the SF90XX. Whew. Man. Oh! ho! Boy, am I driving the SF90XX. Oh,
you gotta drop the top.
Man, the thing about this car, oh, God, it's so quick. The thing about this car is two things. It is so fast. And it is just so incredibly quick to change directions. God, this is an unbelievable car. You know, it's interesting. I've complained a little about the SF90, the regular SF90, for you know, its depreciation has been strong, production numbers have been too high. But from a pure driving perspective, it really is a pretty impressive car, and this one takes it to a really amazing level. You know, this kind of reminds me of a car, another Ferrari I absolutely loved, the 488 Pista, which was also a very focused, very spry, like quick car. Not just quick in terms of acceleration, but like very quick to change direction and kind of do exactly what you needed it to do at basically all times. This car is just like that. The steering here is just astonishingly quick. The oh man, the acceleration is just crazy, crazy, crazy. Oh, freeway on-ramp, gotta do it. Oh man.
He really driving this though, like he's just driving it, like driving it. He driving like a black person are driving, you feel me? Like,
wow. God, this car, unbelievable level of performance from this car. So much speed, just so much speed with like a quick tap of the throttle. You don't really actually need to really get on it in order to get this much speed going. Just really an unbelievable amount. Just so that the engine is just so potent. It's just so capable. It has so much available power. And the steering is so good. Also though, as I'm sitting here driving highway speeds, the car just feels so stable. Now you do hear a lot and you feel a lot. It is clearly like a track-oriented car where you're getting a lot of communication through the tires. This is not a quiet vehicle, I would say. But it is just, oh man, it's just so quick to change directions. And it's just such a fast, speedy, kind of exciting car in basically every possible way to explain that. It's amazing to me just how fast this car is as it kind of darts around. Just really an incredible situation in terms of acceleration and just all-out speed and performance. Man, so much power. Incredibly quick shifts, dual clutch just fires off shifts so fast. You do sense a significant difference from the standard SF90, which actually surprises me quite a bit, because I figured such a difference would really only be perceptible on the racetrack. That is actually not really the situation here. You can feel it. It's louder, it's rougher, it's more aggressive, it's more like rearing to go. It is a much more like raw experience in this car compared to the standard SF90.
He can explain stuff very well. I would not be able to explain that quickly. I would be having some pauses. I'll be saying like I feel like it's he's like spitting it out. He's a true car guy right here, bro. I'm gonna have to keep watching him. That's why I'm glad I subscribed. He deserves to subscribe for sure.
90. Kind of impressive, actually. This car is just really a total monster. It is so incredibly grippy. The handling is absolutely unbelievable. I'm nowhere near the limit, but it just feels on this, you know, curly on-ramp, it just feels so incredibly planted. The steering is so quick. The acceleration is so quick. The sound is so quick. The car is so raw. The sound is just so aggressive and mean. This car is so damn cool. This is a very different experience from the standard SF90. It really does feel more raw, more exciting, more engaging. What an incredibly special machine. I love this car, I really do. I'm quite impressed by it. Very expensive, but very exciting. A really, really impressive machine from a pure perspective of like the way it feels, the way it sounds, and just how precise it is. It is just incredible to me how precise it is, both in terms of acceleration and steering. The car is just like a missile that you can kind of guide into exactly whatever spot you want to in a quite impressive way. Overall, I think there's really a lot to love here. Regular SF90 have not been incredibly hot on. It drives well, but this car just takes the rawness and the craziness to a totally new level. It doesn't, on paper, seem that different. 20 pounds lighter, 30 more horsepower, not that significant, but from a driving perspective, this car just feels so much more engaging exciting and crazy and raw and just fun. And it really is fun. And even driving it regular, like it seems okay. It's a little bit of a rough ride. It's a little bit loud. You can do it, but this car is all about pushing it and going hard, and it seems to do an amazing job of that. It does carry on the legacy of cars like the 599 GTO. I've never driven an XX, but I imagine pretty similar. Really an incredible experience in the SF90XX. And so that's the Ferrari SF90XX. This is truly a beast with massive power, insane performance, and exceptional rarity. The regular SF90 hasn't been a huge hit, with big depreciation and pretty high production numbers, but this one is truly special. And now it's time to give the SF90XX a Doug score.
And the Doug score is here, 73 out of 100, which puts the SF90XX here against rivals. All I have to say is, wow, this car is now one of the highest Doug scores ever. Only a couple of cars have a 74 and nothing scores higher, and it totally deserves it. The SF90XX is truly amazing to drive. Raw, visceral, honestly, it feels like a totally different car from the more pedestrian SF90, and in a good way. This is one of my favorite modern Ferrari models. I truly love it, even factoring in the crazy sticker price of around $1 million.
Hey man, that's it for the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. The Ferrari is definitely that. The Ferrari SF90XX. I'm liking that one. But yeah, today it's gonna be Ferrari Friday. I got some more Ferrari bangers on the way, so stay tuned. And I appreciate you. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. We hit 2K and 3K on the way. Alright, see y'all boys. Gang.